It's lights out and away we go!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the GTOK F1 podcast. I am joined by Alan.
Hello everybody.
And David.
Hey guys!
So, do they call it the land of the rising sun? Or is that China?
No, it's Japanese. The flag's
Yeah. The Japanese Grand Prix. Actually, technically, it's Formula 1 Lenovo Japanese Grand Prix, but anyways.
Where are we starting?
Well, obviously I'll just do a quick run through of FP1, FP2 and FP3 because obviously I rewatched them, so we can do that quickly. Obviously, FP1 you had Lando on top, Russell second and Leclerc, but Red Bulls were looking good-ish. And Williams were looking good. I mean, Behrman didn't get much running, which is weird. Then we got to FP2. None of them hardly got any running because obviously Jack Doohan. I don't know if any of you had seen the clip of Jack Doohan.
Basically, he forgot to shut the DRS before hitting turn 1, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's considered to be because usually the DRS automatically deactivates when you touch the brakes, but into turn 1 Suzuki you don't actually brake.
No.
But obviously you've got to knock the DRS off or else you're going into the corner with no back wing.
And obviously he didn't take part in free practice 1.
No, because
I don't get why they took him out and not Gasly.
No.
Because Gasly already has several years of experience of that circuit.
Because rumour is Briatore doesn't want doing there. That's the rumour that's going round. Briatore doesn't want doing there.
Because apparently there's another sub-driver sitting in at Bahrain. And I think that is instead of Gasly.
But...
Well, they stuck another Japanese driver in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ryu Hikawa. Something like that.
Oh, I wonder if that's Red Bull's strategy from now on. That's why we're going to have a home driver at every race for the rest of the season.
Ryo Hirakawa.
You know, they'll find a Bahrainian driver for next week, and then Logan Sargent will be in it from for Miami.
You mean they'll end up doing what they try and do with the bloody academy, where they end up getting like a wild card in?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Doohan had that crash. Alonso beached it into the gravel. So that caused another red flag. The Doohan caused a red flag, and then they tried to get running again, and well, not just. I was gonna say, the drivers. I'm not surprised the drivers out up on arson charges.
I'll say it was China last year, it was Japan this year. It's working its way around. It's that burning grass. We have to start damming down before sessions.
Yeah,
but the problem with that was, so the FIA, before qualifying, the FIA turned around and said that they're going to put all the money and resources they can to get the glass sorted before qualifying started.
That's quality.
So they do shots of watering it.
So what they were doing was literally finding anything they could get their hands on, including cones, which were turned upside down, filled with water to go put on the bits of grass. Yeah, at one point you see in the background you see this shot of a water tanker coming in and just parking up. Use it.
Yes, but that water tanker could have been somewhere else. But that was before qualifying, so we've kind of skipped ahead. No, because that was Ted and Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, McLaren's looked strong again. Oscar, I said, that was just because he hadn't had a lot of running. Didn't get a lot of running. Hence why it chucked up like the likes of Hadjar ahead of Hamilton in practice.
Mm.
And then Lawson being up there as well. It was, don't know.
Let's say Hadjar, after his little problem at the start of the season, is actually having a very good run at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Then obviously, FP3, you had, McLaren boys at the top again. And then Russell. This is the thing, Russell seemed to be quite consistent.
Russell's quietly away a bit of a dark force for this championship. If he can keep doing what he's doing.
He's a silent assassin.
Nah.
Yeah. The T-Pose champion, you mean?
Yeah. But, yeah, FP3, not a lot of running, not really much special. So, shall we move into qualifying? And I'm going to let David kick this one off.
You'll have a job because I missed Q1.
You could have told me that.
I literally got home from work, and as I got home, it was just starting qualifying 2.
Q1 was quite entertaining, especially with the likes of Hadjar having problems with his seatbelt and his nether regions.
I mean, how can you call that entertainment? I'm sorry.
Not just. I didn't mean just that. Obviously, with the way which it was run for the bottom 5 positions, basically to get through to Q2. I mean, Yuki was very close.
But this is what I mean. This is what I couldn't understand this with the Red Bull. Yuki been quite on it, and then
because Max went for a different setup compared to Yuki. Max went a bit more downforce.
Well, I know they had different wings on, but
Max had more downforce compared to Yuki. So Yuki did not get that downforce that the car needed.
But he was able to control it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He could technically, Yuki's first time in the car, and he didn't bin it. You know what I mean? Unlike somebody. I mean, yet again, I don't understand why they showed
Hadjar's face.
Hadjar when he was having his seatbelt on. He's like, yeah, you can see him wincing in pain. It's like, leave the fucking guy alone. Jesus. And then was it Croft? He turned around and said, was it Crofty or was it bloody Villeneuve? Who said about him being a soprano?
I can't remember that.
Somebody made an operatic reference
against
him. And it's just like, leave the fucking guy alone. Jesus, And that drama continued. Still.
Yeah. I mean, nobody real surprised with who the bottom 5 were, sort of things.
To be honest, I was actually quite surprised to see Ocon, and I'm going to say it, I was quite surprised to see Stroll down there.
Was Stroll dead last?
Considering how, Alonso didn't, shine himself in glory, but yet again, Alonso is kind of proving why he's got the seat, and Stroll's like, yeah, okay. At this point, Stroll's doing a fucking Kimi Räikkönen. He's just not asked because he knows he's got, I wouldn't say that, but he knows he's got the seat his seat's
Yeah.
safe. Now, if Daddy turned around and said your seat's not safe, you could be swapped mid-season.
Which
Maybe that
will
would
never
give...
happen, but
No. But if that happened, you know, it may stick a rocket up his ass.
Possibility. I'm almost doubting. I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to in him. But
Yeah, but won't say that because Stroll used to be. Don't know what it is. Stroll used to be okay as a racer, but then a few times he's, like we say, he's been very. There's been a few questionable moves at certain times. And yeah, now it just seems like he's not really asked, even though, you know, Aston Martin are trying to fight within the constructors, but it just makes me wonder if it is an interim year at Aston Martin.
yeah,
Because of the 2026, you know, because of some people had been taking upgrades. They've only done small developments, I'm guessing, but...
Well, yeah, because Red Bull had brought an upgrade to this race.
But it makes me, like I say, it just makes me wonder if they're not gonna...
I wonder if Red Bull this weekend. It being Honda's last one and all, I wonder if Red Bull's had everything turned up to 11.
Yeah.
You know, it's Honda's last home Grand Prix. Let's put a show on.
Well, it's the last...
So last Grand Prix is an official engine supplier.
For Red Bull, yeah. And for Racing Bulls, because Honda's going to Aston Martin as of next year.
But, you know, I just wonder if Red Bull just gave them, say, if they put the home driver in, we assume Honda's preferred driver, and then just gave the car everything. Which, speaking of the preferred driver, the interesting one to me was this Q2, was the fact that Lawson out-qualified Yuki.
Yeah.
I thought there was some poetic justice there after everything that happened. I know Chris isn't going to like this because he's not the biggest Lawson fan going.
He out-qualified him, but Yuki proved it back on track.
I mean, the best, well, technically, no, when you consider the best finishing Red Bull driver that wasn't Max Verstappen was technically Adjar. So is he going to be in the main car for Bahrain?
No. Eventually he'll move up to the Red Bull team, but...
Yeah, I think Yuki had a quiet one, but I think dropped into the car the way he was, you were kind of expecting it.
Well, yeah, they've got to let him settle in.
Well, you could say that about Lawson. They could let him settle in, but
problem
he's already driven that car a bit, though. He did the races last season, didn't he?
Yeah, but the problem is, I kind of wonder though if Lawson's previous actions had a bit of a made him a little bit of a target. And as well as what Lawson was coming out with, you know, he was getting a bit too full of himself. Yeah. And then obviously the pressure to perform, he binned it, he couldn't produce. Whereas, okay, Yuki didn't score points.
I think we'll see a lot more next weekend because Yuki's had a bit more time to settle. It's a track they probably all know better. Because it's a track those who testing at and stuff, so it's a track they're going to...
Yeah. And, you know, it's... I just don't think Lawson really helped himself.
I actually think he had a steady weekend. I think he did... For being dropped back into that car
He knows the car, though.
Hmm.
That's the thing.
He
Lawson
didn't,
knows
he
the
didn't
car.
Come, he didn't come dead last, so...
Yeah, he knows the car, so... But yet, Hadjar, who doesn't really know the car, outperformed him.
Q3 was interesting. Obviously, I like the fact Hassan doing really well with Ollie.
Yeah, he's doing well this season.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it's not that. I don't get what's up with Ocon. I get,
Something
okay...
in that has to fit with the way he drives.
I don't... Yeah, but I get that. That's the thing. Ollie's had a little bit of a head start with it. I think come 2026, if they still keep the line up, it'll be an equal playing field.
Yeah.
I think because Behrman's had more time with that car.
Yeah.
Than Ocon. Is the only thing I'm saying on that one, because obviously,
I get you.
You know, Behrman was in the Ferrari last year. He's been in
a couple of races in the Haas towards the end of last season, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So he's had a head start.
Yeah. And then I suppose if we Q3 talk about Max's lap out of nowhere.
Well, it's not that.
Yeah.
It was like, Lando's got pole. Okay, Lando's on pole. Next minute, Max crosses the line. I was like, he's about to cross the line. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to go... Because I wasn't watching the timing screens at that point. And it was like, I wasn't watching the timings, and I was like, yeah, he's going to go, third? And it was like, Paul, it was like, fuck.
It's a stunning lap, absolutely stunning lap.
0.014 second difference.
And I think Max has set the lap record, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he broke the record at Suzuka. So I believe it was held by
Vettel.
Webber, wasn't it? Vettel, sorry. Vettel, you're right.
I haven't got my book. I haven't got my book on me, but...
No, I remember I saw a thing on Facebook right from about 2019. It was set.
Yeah, it's Vettel. Vettel had the lap record. And, yeah, qualifying was just... Albon outperforming Sainz, and then Sainz getting screwed for an incident with Hamilton.
He impeded him, and there's no way he could say he didn't or anything like that, because it was...
Yeah.
You could clearly see it. Hamilton was starting his fast lap, and Sainz just blocked him, pure and simple.
But to be honest, what could Sainz have done at that point? Sainz probably didn't know he was there until he got right on him. Unless the team told him.
That's it. I've said it in the past, and I still think this impeding law needs some look at. 'Cause I get where it comes from, and it doesn't come from a bad place. But unless you were going to expect drivers to throw it off the track the second a car appears behind them,
yeah,
there's not huge amounts they can overly do about it.
A lot of
it is down to the teams to say, look, once you cross that line, move right over. Hamilton will be coming past you.
So, was the communication from the team or what? This is what we never find out. We just find out that, they end up getting done for impeding or whatever. Try and keep my soapbox away, thanks.
I think I'm going to burn that freaking thing.
Thank you.
But, Q1, Q2 or Q3, the qualifying was just nothing that special. Apart from Max's lap out of nowhere, it was like, yeah, okay.
This sums up the whole weekend, really, apart from one or two small bits and pieces, unfortunately.
You know, and then obviously Sainz got a place grid penalty for impeding another driver during qualifying. See,
And
Yeah,
then
he
it
had
says,
a rough start.
But
A
it
rough
makes-
start to his life with.
makes you laugh
And
though that they say for impeding another driver, they don't. But you know, they give the driver that's got the penalty, but they don't say for impeding Lewis Hamilton, Hamilton during qualifying or something like that.
Hmm.
Go on.
he also got fined as well.
Yeah, you saw that. We have FA's usual shenanigans. Got fined for not being at the.
The national anthem because he was with the doctors.
That's the thing. He was. That's the. Don't get me on my soapbox, but that was stupid. That was a stupid fine. Yes, I get. I get it. Every driver's got to be the national anthem.
Hmm.
But he was with them. He was with medical people. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, no. No. Keep off the soapbox.
We nearly had people.
And it's part of the regulations. That's the thing. It's part of the sporting regs. It's like, but he's, yeah.
The problem is, the rules there. You've got to be there. If you're not there, you're going to be fined. Now, if they start saying, "Oh well, you're exempt if you're not feeling well," every single driver is going to say, "Well, I wasn't feeling well."
Well, the doctor that was the thing. The doctor had even given evidence to the stewards.
Mm.
So it's like, really? You had a medical profession giving you evidence as well. Could you not just reprimanded him?
Well, he did, didn't he? 'Cause the fine was actually about €60,000, but reduced to
Well, I think it got
20,000.
No, they just
Yeah, I think it got
they just suspended it.
reduced. Yeah.
They just suspended the fine.
Well,
They
he
didn't
suspended
get-
part of it. He still got fined some of it.
Oh, you'll have
but
to
he
pay the
didn't
rest
get
of
the full
it.
Fine. No, it wasn't. It was suspended for 12 months as long as there's no. I don't. You won't have to pay if you don't intervene that rule again. Basically,
Well, yeah, but he'd
that's
still have to pay
that's
it.
what suspended means. Didn't
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
but he'd still have to pay it if he did it again.
Yeah.
But it's just
Suspended doesn't mean you just pay it later. It means you don't pay it unless they need to
but it just
call you
makes
back in.
but it just makes you laugh. Who the fuck are who's on the fucking steward, and especially if you were given evidence from a medical professional, it's like, so stewards, the 3 stewards or 2 stewards or whoever it is, go to the doctors. They get medical advice. Then what they're gonna do? You know what I mean?
Okay.
One rule for one, wrong rule for another. FIA is still crooked.
So the guy that took over from Doom on FP1
Yes.
Yeah.
is actually now a Haas reserve driver.
Yeah, no. The thing is, there's a lot of the teams haven't really announced who their reserve drivers are.
Yeah, well, now Haas have assigned him. Okay, he's 31.
Because you have, obviously, you got Calapinto's Alpines, isn't he?
Yeah.
You've got the likes of Guan Yu Zhou as Ferrari, and obviously Bottas as Mercs. Don't know who McLaren's is. Unsure who Red Bull's is at this point.
I couldn't tell you on that one.
Because it used to be Hadjar, used to be Lawson, but they're racing now, so I don't know.
Yeah, but at times, I don't forget in the past, like Giovinazzi was Ferraris while he was
Who?
racing for Alfa.
Giovinazzi.
Giovinazzi.
Giovinazzi was a touring car driver. He was Ferrari's driver while racing for Alfa Romeo, so that can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But if your reserve driver goes ill, who'd you call them?
Ghostbusters.
I was expecting you to say Hulkenberg, to be honest, but Hulkenberg's racing for Audi.
Yeah, but you could still, you could still be on the plane.
Hmm.
You have Martin Brundle putting on a suit.
But yeah, the race was uneventful. Uneventful.
I was going to say, the race was boring.
The race was not good.
The one piece of highlight, the one thing that happened, obviously, was the Max and Lando pit lanes, which I will say now. How the hell did Lando not get an unsafe release for that?
Why? Why
the
didn't?
only way I can see it is because he was the last pit box. But that shouldn't make a difference. If there was any, that should have been, that was a textbook unsafe release.
Yeah, but why did it get? Why was it no further action against it?
Because they're only reviewing the incident between them coming out. That's all they were reviewing, and Lando should have, as much as it pains me to say, Lando should have backed off.
Max held his line. Max was allowed to stay on that line.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying it.
Max left his pit box. Had left his pit box before Lando. Lando came right out.
To me, the second the team let Lando go, that was an unsafe release.
Yeah, it was.
He was straight into the side of another car. Okay, they didn't hit, luckily, but it was released alongside another car. Which, if the pit lane had been the normal way round, and they'd have been at the top of the pit lane, they'd have done the full length of the pit lane side by side.
Yeah.
And that would have.
They couldn't have had that.
That's never allowed.
No.
Yeah, because it was the last. I think Lando got very, very lucky there.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
That could be, thing is, that could be switched rounds. So it was like it would have been normally, which it would have been McLaren in the first pit box, then Red Bull would have been in the third one. So obviously, Lando would have got in there quicker, and he was a second quicker, so he actually would have been out before Max. So it would have been completely switched round.
Yeah, but that's... And I want to know how Max knew he'd taken the pit limiter off before he had.
I assume he saw the car start shooting forward and just assumed he was off the limiter. Because you think they're both supposed to be limited to the same speed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if the car alongside you suddenly seems to start moving before you expect it to.
True.
I mean, the only way you could sit there and turn around and say is because he's in that end pit box, that limiter doesn't really kick in properly.
Well, was it? I'm sure in years gone by it was the case that the end pit box, if you timed it right, you could literally come out your pit lane with the limiter off.
Yeah.
At certain circuits because you couldn't actually go fast enough.
Yeah.
But then, Lando tried the whole, he pushed me off. Which he didn't because Max technically just kept the line. Where was Max supposed to go? If Max had gone...
if he goes over the white line, he's crossed the white line, that's a fine.
He couldn't have gone over couldn't gone on the left side. So Max held his line.
Correct.
Yeah, but that didn't... I mean, anybody in Lando's position would say exactly the same thing. No matter who you are.
Oh yeah, you try and throw the other guy on the ball, 100%.
He tried. Well, yeah, he tried. But
I think Lando should have just backed off and sat behind him. He would have been a lot closer coming out of the pit lane than what he ended up being.
He wouldn't have risked slamming it into a wall, which was a very real possibility the way he came out of there.
At the end of the day, he was trying to beat him. to get to that position, and
Yeah, but
it failed.
it's, what's the saying? Pick your battles.
Yeah, and that was the wrong time to pick a battle.
Exactly.
As I said, if he backs off that little bit, sat right behind him, as they're coming out, he, would have more of a chance of getting him on track.
Could he have, though? That's the thing. He tried. He just couldn't get him. He tried to get closer to him. Couldn't get him. I feel sorry. I honestly feel sorry for Oscar.
But they should let Oscar pass.
They should have let Oscar pass.
Let Oscar pass to have a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically, by them not doing that, fucked Oscar's chances up, because Oscar was right up Lando's arse at one point.
Yeah. But once again, we're going back to the same team of last season of the slow down, let Oscar pass. McLaren are quite known for doing silly shit like this at times.
We're 3 races into the season. We're not thinking of a driver's championship right now.
No, it shouldn't be anyway. It's too early to tell.
Well, no, this is what I mean. They shouldn't be thinking like that. But why didn't they let Oscar pass? Oscar was on one at one point. It was clear to see, and it was just like, look, let him pass. Just let him go. He might get Max.
There's also the argument that if he was that much faster, could he not have just got past? There is that counter argument.
Yeah.
He'd been trying. He'd not been for the want of trying, I'll tell you that. But he'd screwed his tyres up trying to get past because he was having to keep behind Lando. So that had to chewed him up. I mean, Ferrari had a better race. Mercedes...
It's not really... It'd be difficult for Ferrari to have a worse race than last week. Let's be honest here. Unless they accidentally sent the trucks on the track.
Yeah, but if you look at last week's race result, Anthony, like the Mercedes, even the Mercs were up there, but they were up there yet again. And Australia, 3rd and 4th. Could we see, is this a little bit of a return for trying to fight for the constructors?
We hope so.
With Merck. Because it was, like I say, solid performance from them both.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Especially to split the Ferraris as well. I think Hamilton's struggling. Already, I think Hamilton is struggling.
I think he's been what's the word I'm looking for? Inflated by that sprint win.
Yeah.
But I still don't think this season's going to be... I'm sorry, McLaren. I'm sorry, Hamilton fans. I don't think this season's going to be...
Not going to be good for him.
In theory, you could sit there and as Chris has been saying about some of these drivers, it's his first time in that car.
Well, it's first time. Yeah, it's first time with
a lot of the other guys, and that is the level of experience Lewis has.
Oh yeah.
In general,
and that
I know the cars drive differently, but it's still Hamilton knows these circuits probably better than.
He's a 7-time world champion.
He's in the sport since what, 2007, 2006?
Something around there.
Knocking on for 20 years in the sport, so I've heard that experience should carry something.
He, like I say, yeah, it is his it's his first, going to be his first season in the car, but as David's just said, his experience.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, yeah, he's getting, he's having to get used to how the race engineers are working, you know what I mean? And he's not having a good time about that. He isn't.
Even better than Sainz missing his pit box.
Yeah. Oh shit.
What?
That's what he said. Oh shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it must chuck you off though. You know, you like, you go from team to team to team to team to team.
Yeah, you think a lot of the drivers, you won't, when you go into the pit lane, you won't think, okay, which team do I need to go to? You know, it's just it's instinct.
Yeah.
So to suddenly, I can imagine if you're not paying absolute 100% attention, you would suddenly just get caught out and.
Yeah, but isn't it because it's like you say, the boxes are
reversed as
reversed.
well.
The pit lane's reversed there, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't actually know why.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Why Japan they decide to do that?
Unless it's to do with, is it Japan the feng shui, or there's got to be some reason why they do that at Japan. I mean, who got driver of the day?
Yuki.
Well,
So it's always going to be Yuki.
Which
yeah.
sort of proves the driver of the day thing to me is getting.
I actually voted for Hadja.
I think I voted for Antonelli again.
I didn't vote for anybody.
You know, he had a solid race.
I mean, so who else sort of?
We had Alex Albon having a minor lover's tiff with his team, which I wanted to get some sound bites of in time for the podcast, but I unfortunately never got them.
Yeah, but you've only had about 5 seconds, wouldn't you? Of it? Or was it 10?
Yeah. 5, you'll have. No, but I was trying to get.
Oh, right, yeah. But because Max had it, didn't he? Max was having a little bit of gear problems.
Yeah.
And early on, he was talking about the shift didn't feel right.
Yeah, the upshift wasn't right. Didn't feel right. It's set to 1 only though.
And then next minute you got Albon complaining. Jesus, he was getting pissed.
But it was a solid race from Birmingham. Solid race from Anthony, who led the race.
Yeah.
Youngest
on
drivers.
those medium tyres as well. They lasted a while.
Yeah, he's going for Albon's tyre whisperer role, isn't he?
Well, the thing was, they were saying, because obviously FP2 is where they do an awful lot of the long runs.
No, they didn't get a lot.
They
didn't get any.
And that's the thing. So obviously they couldn't really check the hard tyres out properly. And I don't think they performed as well as what they wanted them to.
Soft tyres didn't.
Oh, no, soft tyres didn't. We knew that.
Well,
the
they
mediums
didn't.
actually did quite well.
No, but I can't say that because they didn't for Stroll for some reason. That Aston Martin just seemed to chew that tyres up because it only lasted him 10. If it was a new...
9 laps.
Whatever. Because I didn't know if it was new or
the
used.
first one to be precise, so don't complain when it's used against you.
I know, but then yet you had Sainz and... Who else went on the softs?
Well, the first lot to pit was obviously Stroll.
Yeah, but I meant towards the end. Sainz put the softs on.
We had softs at the beginning for a couple of cars that didn't last. I don't think anyone went back to them. I certainly have. But I must admit, like I said, I think I missed the last few laps.
It was Sainz. Lawson.
Didn't do Lawson any good though, did it? Yeah, but it seemed to do Sainz. Sainz managed to claw himself back through a little bit. But yeah, that Aston Martin seemed to chew the tyres up.
Yeah.
But were they a new set or were they used? Because if it only lasted 9, I was guessing that'd be a used set.
At least Alonso made the end of this one. That's something he'd not managed to do to this point.
And only one driver got lapped, and that was Stroll.
Stroll.
Yeah. Obviously, they're strolling around the circuit.
But yeah, again, like I said, between the whole Yuki and Liam thing, there wasn't a lot of drama. But Yuki proved, yes, Yuki didn't get into the points. He was, he was chasing down. But he outperformed him. Yes, he didn't outperform him in quali. But on where it mattered, on the track, he did. You know, Hadjar had
I'd just say he had
seat
that
problem
for the first race.
Yeah, but he had seat problems.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the seatbelt, and then obviously on the foot coming out onto the track, he'll be saying about his excuse me, feet being loose. But again, a solid race from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of Yuki Lawson, and obviously besides Max, Hadjar was the stronger one.
Like I've said, I'm expecting to see him in the Red Bull for Bahrain.
Nah. Obviously,
well, yeah. Out of all the rookies, Anthony's obviously doing the better out of the lot.
I bet he's dreading going back to Monza, though. Well, at least he's not in Russell's car, though, so that can't get any worse for him.
Oh, famous last words right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Can I also say, this is on the race, but isn't. I really enjoyed Villeneuve as a commentator.
I didn't.
You know what? I enjoyed it.
No, I didn't.
I thought he was really good, actually.
No, I didn't. Didn't. I like Villeneuve.
Ted's grid walk. That was just, well, they didn't walk. They got a cameraman to walk everywhere while they just stood there.
That's what he does on the notebook half the time. Is get Lee to wander around.
Yeah, I actually thought Villeneuve was a nice. And okay, he's no Martin. I'm not going to say that. But I actually thought I'd cheat rather him than Danica.
Yeah, I don't mind Villeneuve as a pundit.
Hang on. So,
no,
I say the name and I get bitched at. You say the name and it's fine.
Because I'm not rising. I'm not rising to the bait. I want to keep off the soapbox. I want to try and keep going here. Yeah. Martin and Crofty know how to work with each other. Villeneuve and Crofty, I'd say no. Because there was a couple of times Villeneuve did interrupt Crofty. I noticed. But one thing I will say, Alan, I was right.
Hey?
Who was on race control and where was he?
Oh, yeah. But I didn't think that he would be.
Yeah, he was in the studio. Yeah, but they've got nobody else. They had nobody else there.
Well, they did.
Like, what? You're going to stick Ted in race control?
No.
Who?
Who else did they have there? This is where he's now got to think.
Naomi Schiff.
There you go.
She's a racing driver, but no. Anthony, I think, like Davidson and like the likes of Bernie and that lot, they're a bit more. I'm not going to say it, not want to be insulting, but a little bit more knowledgeable. She is Naomi Schiff is a racer, but it's still a little bit.
Actually, a lot of them, they sit there and say it's race control, but actually what they're doing is they're watching all the screens.
And they're listening in on the team radios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she might not want to do something like that. She might not. It might not suit her, so to speak.
True, yes.
She's too busy wearing a bear.
Yeah, I know. I know. But yeah, it wasn't a thrilling.
No, it's a difficult
race.
one to start.
Wasn't.
Well, it's one of those. I mean, like I said, Bahrain's usually a circuit that does give us some.
But I'm going to
good
cut,
fun.
basically cutting them both off there. I don't want to look at this. I really
Well, the
don't.
Fantasy League. No, you've got to look at it.
Oh, you do?
I don't want to look at this, but I've got to. I want to just quickly, obviously, get to it before.
I'm on it.
I'm on it
It's-
already. Yeah.
It's something I don't use that extra DRS.
Just. You've been told about that.
I said somebody. I didn't say who.
Okay, so overall, I don't want to know overall yet. Yeah. Interesting, David.
To be fair, this at least looks good for us with us 3 are 1, 2, and 3.
just a bit.
It looks decent for us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, I noticed something here.
Uh,
Anybody who's got Yuki in their team, you have to re-pick him. Look at Angela's team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you will
I
have to
guess you've got to re-pick him as a Red Bull driver rather than a...
Well,
Yeah.
Simon's got to change Lawson.
Did he lose points for that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but he only lost -4. But Angela.
No, I think overall Lawson's was -4, so I think he must have because if you look, there's no driver picture.
No.
So
there
they've not
isn't.
updated Lawson's driver picture yet to Red Bull 2.
Yuki's inactive. But
Ooh, yeah.
Lawson is active.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm guessing if we've got to realise that if a driver moves teams,
We've got to
you've got to
redo
re-pick
them.
the driver.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I will let them know.
No, I didn't know that
We
until
didn't. Yeah.
until I saw this a couple of days ago. I must admit, I had a look. I had no idea that was going to be the case. So it's a shame finding out. It's a shame there wasn't a message put out about that or something.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. There wasn't there, about somebody else?
No, there was a warning last season that from that point onwards, inactive drivers were going to start incurring penalties. Now, I can't recall at the time it saying that a driver just moving teams rendered them inactive.
Hmm.
Yeah, so, yeah, inactive driver there. Inactive driver penalty points -25.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's...
Well, I don't think she got penalised. There wasn't -25 on there. It's just 0.
No, she got 25 knocked
yeah.
off a score.
Yeah, see.
Right at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, because she only scored 71 points, 54 plus 11, 65. 5, 69. Yeah, she should have got. Yeah, it has been. She has lost 25 points there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan didn't have a good one.
No.
Nope.
Adam luckily had done the same as Simon. He'd obviously re-picked Lawson again.
Yeah. Logan didn't have a bad one. Simon... Yeah, Simon didn't... He had an alright one.
You only picked Simon by 1 point.
You only then picked him by 3, and I only picked you by a further 6.
And that was only because of your extra DRS.
Yeah, but that's you say that like it's a cheat. That's available to any of us.
Oh, no, I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not... The problem is I'm not going all out on my chips yet.
Look, by this time last year, I'd already used 3 out of the 6 we had because I didn't realise how they worked properly. So I'm definitely doing better. But I realised I had to start turning around the way things were going.
Well, yeah, you do. You've got to catch us.
I am still last overall, but I at least
Because...
clawed some ground back. I am now a bit more within touching distance.
You're 13 points behind Angela.
So who...
Doctor.
Who give me the better then? Who give me that extra point? Against Simon.
Well, you think Both-
He got the -4 for Liam Lawson, whereas you got the +4 for Carlos Sainz. Yes, that's the difference.
Yeah,
And I
Science.
guess the teams.
because you both got
He got
4
more
for that
points
day.
for Williams than you got for Racing Bulls,
Yeah.
but he's got the 2 negatives. He's got Bortoletto on -2 and Lawson on -4.
But I've got
You've got Bortoletto on
Bortoletto.
-2, but you've got Carlos Sainz on +4.
Yeah.
That's obviously, yeah. Oh, Berman done you well as well. I had that. Yeah, it's how it works out sometimes.
I might have to be seeing about changing Bortoletto, maybe.
Well, I made some change after the first 2 races, and you can see that it's clearly done at least a little bit of what I wanted.
I've not changed a single driver yet.
Oh no, the way the last 2 went, I thought I've really got to.
You had no chance. So Alan,
Berman's doing well. Hazard's doing well. Hulkenberg sort of, he's steady.
to be honest, I wish I'd have probably gone on an Ellie if I was.
Well, we
Looking
all
at-
sat there at the start of the
I know
season
we
going,
did. We
"How
absolutely.
Could it be worth all that?"
How could it be worth that much?
Well,
Yeah.
it made it look like Muppets.
The problem is he's kind of proven us wrong now, isn't he?
I mean, overall, it's
So obviously, overall races.
I'm still last by him at least. He's brought me back onto the back of the pack sort of thing.
yeah, like I said, you're 13 points behind Angela overall.
Yeah, now that's
I
one,
don't-
but that's
I mean, if David goes away, he's going. I don't think it's going to be hard for him to probably start crawling back up. So I can't believe we're like 3 points in and we're like 600. Like we're already in the 500 points.
Simon's in the 600s.
Well, I know that.
I mean, the
But
gap between you two is what, 36 points?
Well, between me and Alan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's over 100 down to Adam.
Yeah.
And I said I'm currently bringing up the rear, but I don't mind. We've a lot of ground to cover yet.
Yeah, because you've had some you have had a shock. You've had shockers.
2 terrible ones running up to this point, so
Yeah.
I mean, your first one, wow.
the second one wasn't a lot better, mate.
Well, you're -3 in the first one.
Yeah, and then the second one I was only 100 points to your 200, to you guys in like the 200s.
You know, there's still plenty of time to go yet. There's still plenty of time
There
to
is.
go.
The fat lady ain't even warmed up yet.
So obviously, is there anything you guys want to add?
I'm hoping for a better race next time.
Yeah, let's hope that Bahrain at least gets a bit better to deal with. Which should do. Bahrain's usually one that
Hopefully.
we.
So obviously, I'm just going to run through the timings. Obviously, 11th of April, practice 1, 12:30 till 1:30.
Mhm.
Practice 2, 4 o'clock till 5 on the same day. Practice 3 on the 12th, 1:30 till 2:30. Also, same day qualifying is 5 o'clock till 6. And then the 13th of April, the race starts, is 4 p.m. UK time.
UK time, that's nice. That's one that I don't have to get up early for.
Yeah, that's going to be quite a nice one, just the fact that it's not stupid o'clock in the morning.
Correct.
So, anything else you guys want to add quickly?
Just thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to those who've joined the Fantasy League. Please, we'd like to see more of you in that league, because the more we get in, the more interesting it's going to be.
And the more David struggles to climb a ladder.
Yes.
Yeah, and the better it's going to feel when I still manage to pass you both by the end of the season.
We'll soon see.
We'll see.
Well, no,
We'll see.
not soon, mate. It'll be about December before we find out, but
We'll see.
We'll see.
but no, other than that, yeah. One of those races that, as an F1 fan, it is kind of difficult to,
Judge.
Yeah.
not judge, but difficult almost to justify, I say. 'Cause, like, you know, it's almost back to the old friggin' Merc domination years. When he's returning
Yeah.
every weekend to the same results, but it's a one-off. But to be fair, saying that, we've had 4 different. If you count a spin, we've had 4 different winners for 4 different races.
Yeah.
And 4 different pole sitters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sets us up for things to not be too bad.
It's going to be an interesting season, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we're going to end this one here. So obviously, thank you to everybody for listening, and thank you to Alan and David for being here.
Welcome as always.
It's been a pleasure.
Obviously, don't forget to go and check out the YouTube channel. The link for that is in the description. And if there is anybody else that is interested in the Fantasy League, don't forget the link is above to still be able to join the league and, share it around with some people as well. And we shall see you for the next one. So, yeah, until then.
Adios, amigos.
So long, folks.
Goodbye for now.